Welcome everybody to another edition of TalkingWithHeroes.com talk show program. I am Bob Calvert, your host, and I want to welcome you all back to Afghanistan. And for those of you that have been sharing these videos after you've been watching them, we really appreciate it, and so do our troops. It's real important to get their stories out, and our goal is 1 million people for starters. And with all of you helping, I know we can do it. And we're still here at Forward Operating Base Fenty, and we're getting ready to talk with the brigade commander of Fort Carsons, 4BCT 4ID, Colonel Randy George. It is a privilege now to introduce to TalkingWithHeroes.com and all of America, Colonel Randy George. Welcome, sir, to Talking with Heroes and all of America.
Glad to be able to do it.
Thank you. To get us started, could you share a little bit about your service to our country? Maybe go back how long you've served, maybe talk about some highlights of your career.
Okay, I enlisted right out of high school in 1982, so I've been wearing a uniform for quite a while, and also met my wife in the military, and graduated from West Point, and been an infantry officer here for the last 22 years. I've had 3 tours over to Iraq, and this is the first here with the Mountain Warriors to Afghanistan.
So you've been over Iraq 3 times?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. It's interesting because, and we'll get to this, but you know, I've been there 3 times in short periods, but I've seen the progress. And I'm going to go back over and cover the transition, and I'm hoping 2 or 3, 4, 5 years down the road, it'll be a similar situation here.
Yeah, we're hopeful for that here as well.
Right.
We've seen it here this year already, the progress. So.
Yeah. So talk about when you first got here, and of course you're the brigade commander, so you see things in a much bigger picture. So let's start out. Talk about what it was like when you got here, and just some of the progress you've seen over the year.
Okay. Well, we've got 4 provinces out here. With 4 we also have other units that are part of this, like a unit from Italy, a National Guard unit from up in Vermont, so great units that we're lucky to have as part of our team. Marines here, airmen, sailors, so very lucky to have a great team as part of our task force. This very mountainous region up here, especially up in Kunar and Nuristan and then southern Nangarhar. So we were used to it coming from Fort Carson, the mountains. We trained a lot in it, so I think we were ready for it. These are a little bit steeper even than we have there, but I think that as far as climate-wise, that was one great thing about coming from Fort Carson. Generally, the people here, when you get out and meet them, are good people. Especially, it's very a lot of poverty still out there, especially up in Kunar. And a very conservative people. So we knew we were going to be doing a counterinsurgency mission here. We were going to spend a lot of time working to protect the population, and all of our troops have been actively engaged in that since the day they got here.
I had calls coming in from some of your units January, February, and some of the PRTs, like Nuristan PRT, talking about a lot of the progress. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think some of the things that we've focused on over the last year is not just building stuff. Mm-hmm. So some of the progress we've made here, we've instituted budgets, for example. So one thing is not just, it's not any measure of how much money we spend, is if we're spending it wisely and doing the right thing out there. So what that's gotten us is we've actually given the Afghans budgets. It's brought out where the corruption lies, which helps us solve that problem out there. With the Afghan, with the leaders and where that's at. It's also helped us really connect with the people a lot more. We're doing a lot more smaller projects that are real focused on communities because the budget applies transparency. So I think that a lot of the things that we've seen are not necessarily tangible as far as buildings being built, but we've seen a lot more people take an interest in doing things themselves, which is really what we need to get after over here.
Exactly. Yeah, if we're not going to have soldiers coming back here forever, we need to have them standing on their own feet. Yeah. They can see then that you're helping them. I mean, the people, the average people.
They can. Yeah. I mean, and that's really something that we've really tried to work on hard over the last year. We've engaged them We've recognized when we're maybe being led astray, and there's certainly good leaders that are out there, and it's about understanding the people that you're working with or partnering with, and being able to move around some of those that aren't, and going right to the people. So being very transparent about what we're doing. We started off with, I think, 4 radio stations here. We have 17, so we're covering a very large portion. That's helped us be transparent. It's helped us connect to the people through the media over here, and we found that to be very successful.
I was in Calagoosh with the 277 on a mission where they were backing up the ANA. I was really glad to see that. Is that happening in the other areas too now, where they're leading the way?
It is. One of the, we just did a recent operation up in northern Kunar and southern Nuristan, where actually we helped them get ready, we helped them plan. They actually did the Afghan National Security Forces, it was the Border Police, the National Police, and the National Army all did an operation, and we really just provided them air support and then helped them a little bit initially with logistics. I mean, the true measure of success for us is not just partnered operations, but it's when they're leading their own operations. So we've seen a couple of those. We just had a recent one here in Nangarhar. We've had a couple of them, very large operations. We've been involved with them with the planning, but they've ended up doing them. So you learn the most, I think, when you get out there and do things yourself.
Absolutely.